All right, so I kind of decided to put together a collection of all the defensive possessions for the Bucks in the NBA Cup against the Thunder. Uh, Dame and Giannis, the full team never really got to play a lot of playoff games together, so I kind of wanted to see what our defense would have looked like in games that would matter. Now, obviously, the Bucks didn't have the same team in the playoffs as they did in the, let's say, middle of the season because of trades, but for the most part, I just wanted to see what the principles were, and sometimes we can think about why things are or what they did versus the results. Sometimes you have like good defensive concepts and principles, and this is the NBA, so some guys will just make tough shots. Like it is what it is. So on the upper left is the possession number, and over here is going to be all the players. I'm just going to use like my mouse to try and highlight things. I don't have any fancy software, and I'll just give like a I don't want to say breakdown. I'm not some kind of basketball guru, but I kind of give my opinions on what I think the idea behind what's happening is versus, let's say, the results. Process driven versus results driven. So starting off, we have the matchups. So we have Brook on Hardenstein. This is pretty straightforward. Height. You're gonna have SGA being guarded by Ajax, best defender. Probably, maybe I don't want to say second best defender, but defender that we that the Bucks are essentially gonna sacrifice to Jalen Williams, aka the second best player, mainly because Giannis being our best defender, you're not gonna want to put him on guys that have a lot of offensive activity unless you need to, because it minimizes the energy loss and then the foul trouble. So you got kind of similar height and length on their second best defender, which leaves us with Lou Dort and Isaiah Joe. Dame being the weakest defender on the floor is gonna guard probably the most mono-dimensional player, and I don't mean that as like disrespect, but Isaiah Joe is a 40% shooter, and it's kind of easy to game plan, or not easy, but straightforward to game plan against someone whose main skill set is to just shoot threes, even if they are a 40% three-point shooter. Like I think Isaiah Joe takes about like 8 shots a game, like 6 or 7 of them are all 3 points. So as a defender, if you know what your like player is going to do, it's easy to know where they're going to be. And then on top of that, we have Lou Dort. This is guarded by Giannis, another 3 point essential specialist. So both Dort and Isaiah Joe aren't really going to do a lot of, let's say, off the dribble action. They really are just going to do like, maybe drive and kick and shoot threes. And then they don't really draw a lot of free throws, so it helps your best offensive players not get in foul trouble if you guard, I don't want to say the weakest players, but the simplest ones with the straightforward game plan. So, so here, screen. All right, so right off the bat, Dame gets screened by Hardenstein, and Isaiah Joe gets an open shot. Now we have a couple different things here, in my opinion. Let's watch it again. Dame just gets killed on the screen. Now he goes under, most likely to stop the roll. If you kind of see a lot of Hartenstein's game this season, they usually have him in the short roll, kind of that Draymond Green, where he'll roll, they'll give it to him, and then he'll make decisions out of that. So Dame here is effectively getting caught in the screen, but then also deciding to just kind of take away the roll and pretty much having Brook kind of play up on a 3 point shooter. Now, in hindsight, you had Giannis in the paint, so even if Hartenstein did roll, like he's gonna roll into Giannis. So I think as a team you'll be okay with that. So Dame really should have just ran over the screen on 3 point shooter. That's usually what you do. And then Brook here, for example, should have helped Dame out a little bit more. So because this is the kind of defense backline behind Dame, if Brook shows up just a little bit, just a head show, it gives Dame enough time to recover to the 3 point shooter. And then you're also going to make someone like Isaiah Joe, who isn't really a like a playmaker, try and hit a pocket pass to Hartenstein. So in reality, if Brook shows up a little bit more, Dame could probably recover. And then even if Hartenstein rolls, Brook is already very close. It's not like he's gonna roll out here. Brook can kind of cut this off too, and Giannis is here. So option one, Dame get over the screen. Brook show more to give time for Dame to recover, and we'll live with a pocket pass kind of play make action by Hartenstein across Brook Lopez and let's say Giannis. Kind of a bad way to start this miscommunication. It's really kind of like a principles of what the team wants to do. Let's see. So here we have Ajax guarding SGA. He gets caught in the screen. Kind of does the same thing as Dame does, where if you get caught in the screen, they're probably going under to prevent this roll action, which I think makes sense. But once again, it also puts a lot of pressure on Brook. So maybe this is one of those things that the team is trying to do on purpose. Like, make players and funnel them into Brook, but this is SGA, and like this is an MVP player, so he's probably gonna make these more than he misses, even contested over Brook. So Ajax probably, I don't know what the team concept here is. Like, clearly he's not gonna drive because he's not gonna want to meet Giannis in the paint already here. And this pass is going to be hard to either Jalen Williams or Lou Dort because Dame is going to cover both of these to allow Giannis to play free safety. So this is probably the shot that he was looking for in the mindset of SGA. And this is a shot he really can make. I don't really know what else you can do here or how much better you can guard this other than, oh, this is back to first possession. Like, other than just Ajax getting through this screen better. It looks like he stumbled a little bit too, so maybe just, botch possession. What can you do? All right, we try it again. Now here they have a horns action for SGA. Now they're specifically bringing up what, two guys, right? You're not gonna bring up Giannis. You're not gonna bring up Taurean Prince. You're gonna bring up Brook, and you're gonna bring up Dame. And so SGA has a decision. He can take this and then attack Brook, or he can take this screen and then attack Dame. Now, whatever principle or idea SGA wants, I don't know. But I think the key thing here is that if you look at Ajax's hips, one way to kind of combat this horns action is to make the decision for the offensive player. Like, if you play in a very neutral stance, you are pretty much going to get double walled by both screens, and you're going to be put in a blender by the, let's say, offensive player with the ball, because you don't really know which one you're going to guard. Like, you don't know which screen the ball player is going to take. So one way to do it is to essentially take it away, right? So Ajax here has decided to open his hip and force SGA through the Hartenstein screen and into Brook. Now, whether this is a decision by Ajax or the team, I don't know. All right, maybe the idea here is that you want SGA being dropped into Brook, and Brook maybe be telling SGA, hey, funnel him to the right screen, right, into Brook, versus funneling him into the screen and then into Dame. Now, here's kind of like the big thing, right? If you do that, Brook is our drop coverage guy. Right? I think most would agree SGA against Dame is a better kind of perimeter matchup than SGA on Brook, or SGA being guarded by Brook. So SGA knowing this, Brook's going to be in drop. So in the previous possession, SGA kind of really just hit a pull-up midi over Brook. So I don't know why you would do this. Like, he really could have just shot this again, and it would have been a great shot for the Thunder. Now here there's a rule, and I think this is kind of the idea. They're trying to get like easy buckets rather than just mid-range shots by SGA the whole time. The problem here is it looks like Andre Jackson kind of got a little bit slow recovering to SGA, which opened up this roll by Hartenstein, and most likely he's gonna hit this pocket pass. So here Dame has an option, right? He either stunts on Hartenstein to slow this roll down to allow Ajax to recover, and then hopefully Brook can turn his hips and then get back to Hartenstein, and then maybe we keep back the possession on Ajax and SGA. So here it looks like Dame didn't do that. Ajax recovers. Hartenstein got a roll in stride, and he probably just has like a bucket or just a very great look. Now, one thing you could also argue is that Dame is playing or is guarding a 40% shooter in Isaiah Joe. If he were to stunt at this free throw line, Isaiah Joe could really just cross over, and this would have just been an open three for a 40% shooter. So we're giving up an open three because there's no way Dame's going to be able to recover from here, stunting on the roll for Hartenstein, and then coming back over. Like, it's, you could be Jrue Holiday and you're not going to be able to recover that far. Isaiah Joe is going to get an open look. So the alternative to this is actually Prince standing here earlier in the possession. Yeah, so for example, here we do this whole thing again. Boop, boop, boop. If Prince stands here, right, rather than being so glued to, let's say, Jalen Williams, the moment he sees this screen action, we have two options as a team, as the Bucks, right? Dame can stunt more, which probably wouldn't really do anything. I think Isaiah Hartenstein was committed to that role, so unless Dame fully commits to stopping the role, just showing isn't really going to hinder. It might slow down this pocket pass. So, but the moment he kind of digs in to stop this, Isaiah Joe is going to run for an open three, and we're going to give up an open three. So it's going to look bad. So the kind of conventional wisdom is either Dame stunts or Prince stands right here, right? If he stands right here, he can effectively take away this roll action by Hartenstein. Now the problem is Hartenstein will most likely launch that pass to Jalen Williams in the corner. And so Jalen Williams is a 36% three-point shooter. So he most likely will take this open three, and that's going to be the shot we're giving up because Prince is not going to be able to close out to this as fast as we think he can, right? So if he's here and he takes away that Hartenstein, right? So let's say Prince was right here. Hartenstein probably doesn't take this open layup and then kicks it out to Jalen Williams. But then what's the rotation going to be like? It would have to be Dame going here, and then Ajax is going to have to go off of SGA to go back to Isaiah Joe. The ball is going to find its way back to either SGA, and then Giannis has a decision to make. He then goes back and guards SGA. So this really ends up in two options, right? Either you get a Jalen Williams corner three, or maybe a drive, depending on what it looks like or how bad the closeout is. Or it's going to be a swing all the way to Lou Dortz for an open corner three.